फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट।
Hello everyone, you're watching CricketNext. I am Suramya Kaushik. Now we are at a certain stage in IPL 2024 that the matches are getting interesting day by day, and along with that, controversies are catching fire. Now, in the match between Capitals and Rajasthan Royals, we saw Sanju Samson's dismissal. Now, after that dismissal, there was this huge debate around whether he was out or not out. Also, Kumar Sangakkara said a few things about the dismissal. A lot of former cricketers also mentioned their point of views around it, and obviously fans. There are Sanju Samson fans, there are Rajasthan Royals fans, and obviously they have their own say. But with me, I have Network 18 Group Sports Editor K. Srinivas Rao, Sahil Malhotra, and Jamie Alter to know their point of views. So we'll begin first with Srini. Now, Srini, you must have seen that match and you must have seen that dismissal also. The Sanju Samson. Very direct question, and I'll go with this question to each one of you. What do you think? Whether he was out or not out?
I mean, I'm sitting in the comfort of my home watching it on television. I can only see what is available on the screen, and what is available on the screen. I can't take that call. The second step of Shai Hope, was it touching the cushion? Was it not touching the cushion? From here, for me to sit and take a call, it doesn't make any sense. I will go by the umpire's decision. The umpire has said it is out. It is out. So I'll divide your question in two halves. Number one, Sanju Samson had no business standing there once the umpire gave him out. Period. I mean, we've all grown up with this. When Sanju would have been growing up playing cricket in Kerala, in the streets of Kerala, you, me, anyone playing this game, the one thing we are told, if the umpire says you're out, you walk. My 9-year-old plays cricket. That's one of the things I tell him. When the umpire says you're out, you just walk. Whatever you have to say, you say after the game is over. So that is one. Terribly wrong on Sanju's part. The other bit, the umpire has given him out. He obviously has better tools to adjudicate or come to that decision than I do sitting here in my living room. So I will go with that. However, if the umpire faltered, if something did not work out, then that is technology driven, and that is a separate debate. That's a separate debate. So, as I said, there are different aspects to this. So, to answer your first question, if the umpire has given him out, he should have walked. Was he out? Well, the umpire is in a better position to say. So, if the umpire gave him out, so be it.
Okay. Sahil, you were present at the stadium. You must have watched that dismissal live. What's your take?
No, I think whether it's out or not out is a different debate, and I'll keep it separately. But to me, the amount of time which the third umpire spent in making that call, I think that is what was concerning for me. You spend minutes, just debating a wide or a no ball, and it was a very important wicket there. The match was very delicately poised at that stage. It could have gone either way. There are angles at their disposal. There are high-res cameras at their disposal. I think a better use of the split screen probably, where the whether the foot actually touched the rope or not could have been more conclusive, because I was seeing some GeoCinema footage today where they actually zoomed in at this instance just to highlight the gap between the rope. I don't even know whether we can call this a rope now. क्या बोले इसको? Boundary cushion holding. मतलब इसके और foot के बीच में जो gap था, that was actually highlighted. So I think यहाँ पे they could have used a split screen or probably a better camera angle just to kind of make it more conclusive, because the replays which they showed, something which Sanju saw, something which everyone in the RR dugout saw, I think it wasn't that conclusive then. एक grey में आपने छोड़ दिया था जहाँ हमें भी लगा yes, the foot actually touched the rope. But when it was zoomed in, I saw some replays this morning, then it became clearer that there was that much gap for the umpire to kind of judge it out. But better use of technology could have been made, and we have seen plenty of instances in the IPL. यार wide के time पे आप 10 replay लेते हो, innings खत्म भी हो गया होता तब भी opposition team wide का review ले लेता है, उस पे you spend so much time, but this is a wicket and you could have taken that extra second and extra minute just to be more sure, just to arrive to that conclusion and just to kind of reassure the public, the audience, the stakeholders that yes, the right call was made. I think that rush in which the decision was made, I think that is something which was concerning. Nothing apart from that. I think, as Srini said, they have better tools, they are the better judge, but those tools should be like
Yeah.
made visible to the public. No, 2-3 split screen angles ले लो, टेढ़ा मेढ़ा दिखा दो, उसके अंदर इतना टाइम नहीं लगता. जब wide no ball इतना debate होता है, so a wicket as important as Sanju's, where the match actually switched back in Delhi's favor, I think that's what became a hot debate.
Just how the toss thing is going around these days. At the very start of IPL 2024, there's a lot of ambiguity around the toss, but now you see that they zoom into that coin and all the viewers get to know whether it is edge or T. So something of that sort could have happened in this case as well. But what Srini said and what Sahil said, Jamie, I think I can dissect this topic now into three categories. One is technology, obviously, that Sahil talked about. Second thing is umpire's decision and the time that umpire took to come up with that decision. And the third one is Sanju Samson's dissent. Well, we'll come to Samson's dissent a bit later. First, I'll talk about umpire's decision. Now, in this whole IPL, obviously, we have smart replay system and it came in this IPL only. But even after its presence in this IPL, we have seen that how much time the umpires take to come up at a conclusion, and we have seen that in multiple cases, be that in case of a no ball or wide, so on and so forth. But in this case, nothing of that sort happened, even though they have the luxury of a split screen. And it has come in this IPL only that they can get the two footages all together. Once the bowler or the fielder is taking the catch, so the hand footage we can get and the foot footage we can also get. But do you think that it was something that was missed in this match altogether?
See, it's very simple. Like Shrini mentioned, like Sahil mentioned, like you're asking me. When an umpire takes 3 minutes to on a wide, we all do these shows. Arey, jaldi karo. Now, when he's taken a minute to do something, we're like, Arey, time low, time low. We're at fault. The paying public is at fault, and technology is at fault. I go back to that incident, 2008. You've heard me say this before, the very first time DRS was used, Sinhalese Sports Club, Colombo. I was there 2 days before that match. All of us 30, 40 Indian journalists, we weren't asking questions about India ka combo, Ajanta Mendes pop, kya khiloge. We were asking Gary Kirsten, what are you going to do about DRS? 16 saal ke baad, we still have not come to a happy medium. We're all at fault here. What was it? Sahil, we did a show about a month ago when we were talking about how Hawkeye went and had to apologize to the PSL, right? Today it's this umpire. Tomorrow this will change. We will do umpteen shows until all the cows come home about technology. The bigger picture is, are we addressing the awful umpiring, right? As per the replays, like Shini said, Sanju Samson was out. I've also done 3 shows today on this topic. Before every shows, to fact check, I've gone like Sahil and I've watched replays. The man was out. The question is, when, like Sahil mentioned, you take 3 minutes on a wide, why did you come to that decision in 1 minute? That's a show for a different day. The point is, we have done this before. We've seen Dhoni. You talk about dissent. Dhoni made an ass of himself by leading his team onto the field against, I think it was Rajasthan Royals, for a similar decision. So we will keep doing these shows until the issue of technology not gelling with cricket in 16 years is eradicated. आज सैमसन है, कल कोई और होगा. हम shows करते रहेंगे और we will not come to a decision. Like Shini said, if he's out, he's out. The bigger question is, how did the umpire come to that decision? If he had only 2 replays, then by all means we have to respect it. Should he have had 9 replays? Of course. If in that moment it took him 60 seconds or whatever it is to come to that decision, accept it, move on. It comes down to, if you're in a pink shirt, you're going to say not out. If you're in a blue shirt, you're going to say out. And this debate will rage for long after all 4 of us have retired from this line of work.
Well, that's absolutely right, Jamie, and I agree with you. Because I still remember we did a show a few days back where we talked about how Virat Kohli had, showed his dissent when he was sent back on that no ball, and there was like so many views. People were saying this, people were saying that, and a lot of that happened. Now, controversial decisions in IPL 2024. That leads me to another topic altogether. But what I started, so I'll stick to it for a few more minutes, and then I'll go to all the controversial decisions in this IPL. Shini, you talked about technology. Today. A few of us were just sitting, and one of us just mentioned that why can't we bring in something of goal line technology, like this technology in football, whether that can be used in cricket, something of that sort, where you can put it on the boundary rope cushion, or something. Can we do something about the technology? Can we
Do you think
bring more
any
advanced
other
technologies
sport
in cricket?
we think any other sport is not struggling with technology? Are are you tracking football? If there's a football match that that actually concludes without there being dissent on VAR, it's supposed to be a lucky game. Every second match is actually a victim of technical errors, technical glitches, or wrong decisions being made as we have this debate. So let's start with this. What is the crux of our debate today? Like we saying that apropos technology, we are in a scenario like this. We are facing a scenario
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So again, what is this scenario that we're talking about? Was he out or not out, or dissent or something? See, these are very separate issues all
Mm,
coming together. So that's why I
yeah.
said dissect it. Sanju Samson he's been fined for his dissent, right?
Yes.
30% match fees.
Find him and
30%.
warn him, and make sure that you find him 10 times more if he repeats it. The
Mm,
umpire is giving you out, you walk. So that's a separate issue, right? He was
mm.
being plain stupid in coming back. First of all, I don't know what review was he coming back to ask. It was the third umpire that
Yeah,
had given the decision. So suddenly, I think, see, that's how lost you were, or that's how disconnected you were with the game, that you don't know where the decision was coming from. That you were walking back, and suddenly somebody from your dugout says, "No, no, Jake, review, monk." Matlab, where are y'all? The owner of Delhi Capital seemed more involved like a 12th man than your entire unit put together. So anyway, so that said, Sanju absolutely wrong in whatever he did, coming back, asking for a review, showing dissent, everything. So fine, yes, please find him. Now, the umpire has given the matter out, right? So now we are saying, okay, Sahil, the amount of time taken, the amount of time not taken. Again, we'll come back to that later. Point is, at the end of the day, the umpire has given a decision based on the tools that he has at his disposal. You have a problem with that, go to the match referee. Let's, call for a proper investigation. Until there, the umpire's decision stands. If the field umpire is referred it to the third umpire's, the TV umpire's decision stands. It's as simple as that. Now, coming to the simple thing about technology.
mm,
Technology will continue to have its share of glitches, errors, technical errors. There is so much that I may want to talk about. So Jamie mentioned about how it all originated in Sri Lanka and DRS, and kind of since then. I mean, we've never actually kind of wrapped our head around it.
yeah.
I remember, again, same country, another series. I happened to be in Sri Lanka for a series where I sat down and watched the entire series from the production room. I wanted to do it as an experience. So I sat and watched an entire series with cameramen, commentators, and production guys, right?
Mm,
Just to kind of get a feel of how a match is produced.
mm,
uh, like, come on, I mean, those DRS guys are like, when I saw them in that series, I literally looked like three, four college pass outs had just come and were looking for a job. अच्छा कुछ नहीं करने के लिए चल आजा DRS देख ले. It was that kind of a thing, fun loving guys. I, I don't know how much seriousness. So if you were to ask me, I have a plain
mm.
and simple rule. The DRS guy, the guy who is telling you, see where the ball is going or whatever, kind of वो जो line draw करता है ना,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he should be sitting next to the TV umpire. That
Yeah.
that I think is a TV umpire should not have a view of the field, because the TV umpire has no business having a view of the field. It doesn't help. What are you? You are the TV umpire. Your job is to take a decision based on what you are watching on television, right?
Hmm.
That has to be the focus. So these two guys have to sit with each other along with the match director. There is a guy who's directing this game. There's a guy who's actually manning all the cameras. There's a guy who's like telling, switch this, put this camera on, take this camera off, track the ball there, kind of, I want one camera there on, give me the side view, give me this angle, give me that angle. There is a director who is putting all of this in place.
Yeah, yeah.
The TV umpire, the match director, the DRS guys, they should be all sitting in one compartment where they have access to each other. Then, as Sahil said, the time was too long. I'll say take another minute if it's a decision as crucial as this one, right?
Yeah.
And convince your viewer. Convince your viewer. Talk about it. Talk about it. Why do you have to be so mouth shut about it? Talk about it. Let the match referee after the game, kind of come and give a statement. Why does he think that the TV umpire came to a decision like that? What made him come to a decision like that? Justify it and put this to an end rather than leaving it to guys fighting. As Jamie said, RR will think it was not out, Lily will think it was out. This will go on.
Yeah.
That is why I respect where BCCI has been coming from at all times. I remember the amount of criticism that BCCI drew at one point. I'm talking, 14 odd years ago, where they refused to embrace DRS. They refused to embrace technology, and the world over, kind of had this one point where, it is because of the BCCI, BCCI, which is the most powerful body in the game of cricket, that technology is becoming like, kind of is not being initiated. The use of technology at full flow is not being initiated. But BCCI held one simple view, that is the technology that we are going to use. And by the way, this is 14 years ago. Since then, a lot of improvisations have happened. BCCI said the technology that you are advising or kind of suggesting, is it foolproof? If it is not foolproof, if there is any percentage of potential glitch possible, how are you ensuring me that it is still better than, why should I not go with the natural judgment of the field umpire, where historically the game has kind of lived on those. So the BCCI's point was, is it foolproof? And since those years, the underlining statement has always been that it is not without its share of glitches. It is there, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Sometimes the
Yeah.
decision can go your way, sometimes the decision cannot go your way. But if you have decided to embrace technology, if you have decided that fine, even with certain glitches, it is still worth the time, money, and effort. It's remember, it's not a cheap facility to use. It comes at a very good value. I mean, you got to pay good money to use this. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that if I have made up my mind that, at that given value, it doesn't matter a few glitches here or there, I'm ready to embrace it because it solves or answers the bigger picture, then I'll have to live with that decision. Then don't come to back to this drawing board thinking, is technology good, is technology bad? We have decided 15 years ago that technology is good, and that's why we have embraced it. Now, there
Yeah.
are going to be glitches, and this also was something that we taken into account all these years ago. And while it is improving, improvising, so that, and then, yes, one thing I will agree, and I've agreed this season after season after season, that I'm not a fan of quality of umpiring that happens in IPL. I'm definitely not a fan of Indian field umpiring, which lags behind from quality that the world dishes out. We really lag behind, especially for the number of hands and legs that we produce in this space. We ought to kind of be better. We ought to kind of work on this. But that's again, as I said, debate for another day. I hope it kind of sums up.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think you have covered all the pointers, but we'll go in depth of all those pointers as well, especially, the umpiring decisions in this IPL. But Shri, you mentioned 2 points. You talked about, how the DRS system works. Now, in this IPL, as I already mentioned, that they have adopted this smart replay system where the TV director's role has been eliminated. So there is no intermediary role, and the two Hawkeye operators sit in the same room as TV umpires. Now, Jamie, that one thing has been sorted this season. So what Shrini said, one thing is done. Second, he talked about the time taken, and this you also mentioned the same thing, that you can take, if it's a very important decision, do take an extra minute. I just want to know quickly, do you think anything else can also be done in terms of taking better decisions or precise decisions during the matches?
I think if there were such an answer, we would have already seen it in place. No, this is why I'm saying, this is why Srini is reiterating the fact that it's taken 16 years and still there are problems, and the problems will remain if the IPL is problematic. And Srini is right. We have seen this, right? Why has MS Dhoni and why has Virat Kohli given validation to the fact that you can point a finger in an Indian umpire's face, you can abuse them while walking off, you can bring your team on. Sanju Samson is a soft target. When MS Dhoni, the icon, and Virat Kohli have validated, dissent, questioning, walking onto a match mid-match. Sanju Samson ने
Yeah.
फिर जाके पूछा कि भाई ये क्या हुआ? So there's a bigger problem. Like Shini mentioned, Indian umpiring. Why is there only one guy on the what's it called, the elite panel in India of umpires?
Yeah.
एक ही वहाँ पे
Yes.
Indian क्यों है?
Yes.
That's a bigger picture. Why is the superstar culture allowed to question the umpire? How is Dhoni allowed to stop a match and walk on in his flip flops? Let's answer these questions. Then we'll come to whether it's 3 minutes. We have a much bigger issue. There is the star culture, where because these umpires, right? ये गोरे अंपायर को नहीं करेंगे ऐसे, ये भी सॉफ्ट टारगेट जाके हमारे इंडियन अंपायर्स को ही करेंगे ना. Let's talk about this first of all, right? Yes, we know that Michael Slater, Shini will know it very, very well. He wagged a finger in Venkat's face. That was appalling. But now look at हमारे लोग भी तो यही करते हैं ना. So the problem is our umpires, like Shini mentioned, are far behind. Technology has not got to a point. And how smart is this smart review system when it's taking 3 minutes? And still, there's ample evidence. Even the so-called smart review system is not
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily giving you the best
I
result.
agree. Yeah.
Just because Shreyas Iyer shuffled 0.2% and not 0.17%, it's deemed a wide. It has been
Yeah.
probably the worst year of umpiring, and it will remain this problem until we get down to the level of, like Shini mentioned, addressing our umpires. Is our qualification process to becoming an umpire, is it accurate? Is the domestic level of umpiring, is it adequate? Sahil shaking his head. He knows very well. He has a brother who's played Ranji cricket. We've all covered. So until this is solved, आज जैसे मैंने कहा, आज हम सैमसन के बारे में कर रहे हैं, कल होप के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. Are the vested stakeholders, are they taking calls to improve this? That's where I have doubts.
So actually, this leads us to a point where we should actually talk about dissent, Sahil. Not only Sanju Samson, we saw Virat Kohli this season. Before that, MS Dhoni, obviously, and multiple times we have seen different players, putting that up front and showing their dissent and all of that. But what happens is, Sahil, कि कभी भी कोई बड़ा खिलाड़ी जो होता है, be it विराट कोहली, MS धोनी, संजू सैमसन, उनके साथ बहुत सारे और लोग भी जुड़े होते हैं. So what happens is कि अगर एक बड़ा खिलाड़ी आपका ग्राउंड पर कुछ अपोज कर रहा है, डिसेंट दिखा रहा है, तो बहुत सारी एक फैन आर्मी तो अलग है, लेकिन जो उन्हें पसंद भी करते हैं, दे स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग इन फेवर ऑफ दैट क्रिकेटर. नाउ हाउ डेंजरस इज दैट फॉर the cricket ecosystem, and also for the other cricketers who are not at the same platform as all these cricketers are, like Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni and others.
No, stepping onto the field reminded me of a very funny episode. And yesterday, reporters are actually asking for Praveen Amre's feedback on what happened with Sanju Samson today. And Praveen Amre, I think last season or last season, with Rishabh Pant, when Ricky Ponting was recovering from COVID, was directing the players to come off from the field. So, मतलब ये funny चीजें हुआ है. And I think the biggest problem, and something which I feel should immediately happen, if not this season, then next season probably. You penalize players for anything and everything. You cut their match fees. Harshit Rana was banned for a game for blowing kisses. They consider it to be an animated send-off. When was the last time we heard an umpire was penalized for giving shoddy decisions in a single day? Umpire
True.
को भी match fees मिलता है ना, and they are paid a handsome amount of money. And
Yeah.
I won't even touch the fact that how these umpires actually take those state level examinations, go to the NCA, वहां से कैसे कोटा सिस्टम से umpire बनते हैं. So quality dip होगा, इसीलिए Nitin Menon is the only umpire, and the other umpires, the known umpires, I won't take names, are already contemplating retirement because they don't think that umpiring is that rewarding anymore. अगले साल आपको जो और इंडियन नॉन अंपायर्स दिख रहे थे, आई हैव स्पोकन टू अ कपल ऑलरेडी, दे आर कॉन्टेम्पलेटिंग रिटायरमेंट. वो कह रहे हैं अगले साल नहीं खड़ा होना यार हमें. तो अंपायर को पीनलाइज करना शुरू करो. डीआरएस है आपके पास, डीआरएस के अगर अंपायर्स कॉल वाला डिसीजन अगर उल्टे आपको 3 दिखते हैं, make a level, no? 3 wrong decisions in a day, 4 wrong decisions in a day, you'll be docked 10% of your umpiring fees, 5% of your umpiring fees. It's a professional sport. We all are professionals. Umpires are professionals. हाँ, hat डाल के खड़ा नहीं होना ना सिर्फ to have the best view of cricket. You're doing a very important job because, again, I won't go into umpire's call because I think that's the most ridiculous thing ever to happen to DRS. Either it's out or not out. There's nothing called umpire's call. वो तो मेरे को वो तो अलग डिबेट हो जाएगा. But इमीडिएटली जो मेरे को लगता है होना चाहिए, स्टार्ट पीनलाइजिंग अंपायर्स. और रणजी ट्रॉफी के अंदर तो हाल ऐसा है ना कि मतलब मैं अपने कान पकड़ लेता हूँ जब मैं मैचेस देखता हूँ ना ग्राउंड पे. आपको बाहर बाउंड्री रोप तक निक सुनाई देता है कि कत्ती लगा है. कत्ती बोलते हैं हम स्लैंग में उसको. अरे तो कत्ती लगा है. अंपायर को कान पे जू नहीं रेंगता वहां. वन ही इज लाइक 10 meters, 20 meters away from action. There are no spectators in the stands. The level of umpiring is so horrible. And let's not even get to age group cricket. एज ग्रुप क्रिकेट में मैंने लेग स्टंप के बाहर लेग स्पिनर को पिच करते हुए देखा है और अंपायर ने फट अंडर 16 में उंगली खड़ी कर दी थी. सो एज ग्रुप तो छोड़ ही दो. सो अंपायरिंग इज अ बिग mess in Indian cricket, and sooner they start penalizing umpires. पैसा बहुत देते हो ना, penalize करो, सब लाइन पे आ जाएंगे. पैसा काटो. पैसा ही पैसे को बनाता है, पैसा ही इंसान को बनाएगा और पैसा ही अंपायर्स को सुधारेगा, क्योंकि सुधारना बहुत जरूरी है. गेम बहुत एडवांस है. अंपायरिंग मस्ट reach the level where we expect it to be. So it's a high pressure, high stakes. There are umpires. I'm sure Jamie and Srini would know those umpires better than me. जो आपको लगता था यार इसको तो डरा के, हम कॉर्पोरेट में खेलते हैं ना, कुछ अंपायर्स हम भी पकड़ लेते हैं, इनको तो डरा के उंगली खड़ी करा देंगे. तो प्लेयर्स भी करते हैं यार. एक अश्विन की अपील और एक रवि बिश्नोई की अपील. अश्विन की अपील पे उंगली पहले खड़ी होगी. यू कैन सेंस दैट बॉडी लैंग्वेज ऑफ अंपायर्स कि पता है हवा टाइट है, बस उंगली उठने वाला है. तो स्टार्ट पेनलाइजिंग दोस अंपायर्स बिकॉज अंपायरिंग क्वालिफिकेशन उस पे पूरा दिन लग जाएगा. It's that bad a mess.
From that aspect, yeah, it's like, you know, it's an overall, like you, like for example, Sahil mentioned Praveen Amre last year, you know, kind of raising kicking a storm, you know. But remember, again, he was egged by the player and the captain to do it. You know, go back to that game, go back to why Praveen Amre had to do it. He didn't have a choice. He had to kind of bring up that issue and understand why. So primarily that you know, being intimidated by a star cricketer, it is a very serious thing. ये जो बोल रहा है साहिल, आप दिन भर आप अंपायरिंग करते हो, आपको क्या मिल जाता है? आप बताओ. आप वो एलीट पैनल पे पहुंचते हो, आप आईपीएल में अगर कर लोगे तो भी आपके 2 सीजन खराब गए, तीसरे सीजन आपको बिठा दिया जाएगा, कोई चौथे को ले आया जाएगा. इट्स अ वेरी थैंकलेस, इट्स लाइक a thankless space, you know. So any job, it has to improve. Any space, if it has to improve, we need to respect the person doing that particular line of work, right? Respect, again, you know, in terms of, you know, how you approach a particular you know, responsibility. You know, you give respect to that space, and you know, that ecosystem again will find ways to improvise and improve. That's one part of the whole thing. The other bit is, you know, I was just going through my archives, and you know, somebody mentioned umpire's call, and I wanted to kind of, you know, just mention how, you see where these players are coming from, see where our ecosystem is coming from. You know, a cricketer jo hota hai, at the prime of his career, how much emphasis has he laid on education? How much emphasis has he laid on understanding things completely from a technology perspective? You know, how many of the R instruments do you find on a regular basis, right? You don't, right? So what happens is, if you've played sport, okay, and at any level, at any serious level, one of the things you will know and you will realize is that you always want to keep it simple. The
Hmm.
simpler the better. You go on complicating it, then there is no end to it, right? So I will not name the person who I was talking to, but we were having a very serious discussion on the umpire's call, and I said that don't agree I don't agree with it. My bit is simple, and I said this, that if you're going to have tech and spend such good money on it, ensure it is self-reliant. Going back to the
Hmm.
field umpire just makes things unhealthy. See, I'm a player.
Yeah.
A field umpire has given a decision, boss. I don't agree with your decision. If I'm the player, I don't agree with your decision. That is why I'm using that opportunity which is given to me to go to the third umpire, right?
Yeah.
That is why I'm going to the third umpire, because I don't trust your decision, right?
Yeah.
Then why are you asking me to go back to that same umpire again, the guy who I don't trust?
True.
Where is the breach here? I mean, I'm telling you that you have given me this option, that this referral option is possible. I'm saying, okay boss, this particular decision I don't trust what you're saying, let me have a review. And the guy who's supposed to review says, नहीं नहीं, आप वापस फील्ड अंपायर के जाके पूछो, मेरे को पता नहीं. So my trust is gone na. So I
Yeah.
was giving this explanation that, in terms of, it is still better than what it used to be. It'll take me some time to wrap my head around it. But as I said, you have embraced it. You have said that this is going to be part of the game. Now, whether it needs to, that is a separate debate, whether we need to continue with it in the same form or something. But while it exists with all its faults, I'm saying adhere to it. Respect
Hmm.
those rules. Right or wrong is a separate matter. You can, like, kind of, there are other avenues to. But at that point, if a decision has been made, I didn't like Steve Buckner, and I'm saying Sachin Tendulkar would have hated Steve Buckner. But neither me nor Sachin
Yeah.
Tendulkar nor any of us could have done anything
Yeah.
about Steve Buckner, because
Yeah.
Steve Buckner was the umpire who adjudicated or made those decisions within a set of parameters, rules, whatever, and he was right in his way. Whether the decision he made was correct or incorrect is secondary. But
Hmm.
everybody had to live with the Buckner. Similarly, today you got to live with what is available. Yes, Jimmy.
And it is because of Steve Buckner's repeated mistakes that DRS came. And 16 years on from Steve Buckner, Buckner is long gone. Have the problems gone away? They've not. Right? This is the point Srini is trying to make. कौन था वो Harper, Roger, not Daryl Harper,
Dalap.
ब्लंडर रूडी
Darren
कर्सन
Harper.
इन डेल हार्पर, इन लोग के चलते तो ये आया है, पर इन लोग के बहुत जाने के बाद समस्या दूर हुई है? नहीं हुई है. Have we gained anywhere? We're not, because like Srini mentioned, it's not foolproof. And then जो भी है, you just have to accept it and move on.
Actually, that's right, Jamie. Even in the post-match conference, in the press conference, Sangakkara also said he was asked multiple times about this dismissal, and he just said that at the end of the day, you have to stand by that decision. And I really agree with Sangha on this one. Irrespective of that decision, they should have won that match, or they should have emerged victorious in that match, because they were at a position that they could have done that. But at the end of the day, we all know nobody even bothers to talk about certain Roman Paul's performance, or Dovan Ferreira's performance. Everybody talked about how Sanju Samson could have taken that match to the end, and Rajasthan Royals could have managed to win that one. So obviously those perspectives will go on and on. Well, today is another match, and it's a big match. It's Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Lucknow Super Giants, where LSG have won the toss and they have opted to bat first. We'll talk about LSG and SRH in our other videos and in our other live sessions. For now, we'll just wrap it up here with a couple of questions. So, I have a few questions. Would request our panelists to give quick answers to those questions. So, I'd request the first question on screen, please. If the same happens with Virat MSD, then will you say the same? I think we have discussed it at length in this live. I had mentioned that thing with Sahil. Sahil explained it pretty well. So I think we have taken that, Harish. If you haven't heard this live session, so please rewind and go back to that. Next one, please. umpires should be banned for at least one match. Okay, he'll learn from all these kind of decisions. I think we have discussed around umpires also. So Ravi Shankar, we have covered that part as well. Sahil again talked a lot about what should be done in that case. It could be either three wrong decisions or so on and so forth. So I think we've discussed that as well. Next one, please. Sports fans saying one basic question: how umpires are appointed for an international level of competition, and how level can be improved by making it gender neutral, etc. Jamie?
I mean, we've discussed it. There's a process. You have to start. There's various grades. Sahil probably has a bit more knowledge. There's various grades. You have to pass tests. There's a certain time when you're on the field at various levels. The system is actually very, very simple. It's as simple in the sense that how to get there. It's damn tough to get there. But then again,
Yeah.
we have so many things. I mean, we just briefly mentioned India, Bangladesh, one of the worst, if not the worst places. Pakistan has had umpiring problems, going back decades. So a lot of it is the system. I'm not saying our system is 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 perfect, but is our system as good as the Australian system? Of course not. Why is a Simon Toffel remembered, or a Billy Bowden, or a David Shepard? It's because we have to front up the fact that बाहर का system, क्योंकि वहाँ का system बहुत पहले से सही तरीके से चल रहा है. वहाँ जुगाड़ नहीं है. Sahil mentioned वहाँ पे the system cannot be tweaked as much as the Asian system. When I say Asian, I'm putting Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India together. So it's because traditionally, culturally, इतने बदलाव हैं हमारे system में. That's why it's not so good. Hats off to a Venkat, hats off to a Nitin Menon that they've been able to go on and sort of crack that system. But unfortunately, while we as a nation are ahead of the West in many ways, in these things, because of cultural differences, because of the rules being tweaked or being broken or being flouted, that's why we're so far behind. How can you make it gender neutral? I think that's very, very obvious. Follow the lead from other countries. How can it be improved? As I said, जब तक आप सोच नहीं बदलोगे, NCA is a disaster on so many levels. But that is apparently the place where all wonderful things happen. We all know the truth that it's not. It's a scam on so many levels. It's because our DNA, our system, it encourages scams that unfortunately we're not we're an embarrassment, frankly, when it comes to umpiring on the international level.
That's right. But Sahil, if we talk about the appointment of umpires, if I'm not wrong, there are certain levels of examination as well, right? They have to pass the tests, the written as well, isn't it?
So the first things first is you start at the district or the league level. If I just talk purely about Delhi and DDC, because I'm like more well versed with it, and similar processes are followed in other state associations too. So you start with league or the district level, then you kind of get promoted to age group level, under 14, under 16s, where you become a BCCI affiliated umpire, because those tournaments are held by the BCCI. So the state
Yeah.
association only feeds players for those tournaments. It's conducted by BCCI. Then you appear for a common test where your local state body kind of recommends your name to the NCA. You go to the NCA, undertake those exams, you get a certain score. On the basis of those scores, you go to the next level. वो जो questionnaire है ना, it's a very difficult questionnaire. The last questionnaire which I got access to, मैं DDC में ऐसे ही घूम रहा था, मेरे को किसी ने बोला कि यार तेरे को अंपायर बनाते हैं. मैं कहा आओ बना ही दो यार, फिर मैं भी कुछ अच्छा कर लूंगा. मैं उसके क्वेश्चंस पढ़ रहा था, उसमें 3 सिचुएशनल क्वेश्चंस थे. Those were googly. मतलब मेरे को लगा यार मैं तो इतना क्रिकेट देखा हूँ, इतना क्रिकेट खेला हूँ, ये मेरे को कैसे नहीं पता. So those questions are not that straightforward, but as Jamie said, I think the system needs to grow up and needs to evolve and ensure that there is transparency level followed on that front, because मैंने ऑफिस बियरर्स को अंपायर्स बनते हुए देखा यार. तो अब मैं इसके बियॉन्ड तो क्या ही बोलूं, because umpiring has now become a very fancy job ever since IPL came, and you know that you can kind of find your way into the elite umpire system. उसका भी अलग चलता है पीछे से, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं.
कितने अंपायर है आईपीएल में?
होगा श्रीनी 10 के ऊपर तो होगा.
नहीं, फिर भी एक अंदाजा बताओ. 12 है?
हाँ,
10 से 12 होंगे.
हाँ,
मुश्किल से.
Now, year after year, BCCI at across levels from junior cricket to the senior most cricket conducts 2,000 plus matches across, right? Across tournaments, across age groups. So the umpire who's just about starting, एक जाइल शील्ड के लेवल पे भी अगर आप बोल दो, एट स्कूल लेवल पे भी अगर आप बोल दो, MCA क्लब लेवल पे आप बोल दो, कोई भी सिटी में, टियर 1 सिटी में, वहां से लेके तो इंडिया या आईपीएल एज बिग एज इट गेट्स अ प्रॉपर्टी, वहां तक umpiring is happening at all levels now. Put this filter, apply this filter to any educational system across the country. you know how many kids pass out from schools, head to universities, filter them out with how many actually make it to the government engineering colleges, the top tier business management institutes, and the top IITs and the IIMs, right? अगर हम ये बोल रहे हैं कि इस लेवल पे छटाई होने के बाद हमारे पास उतने बच्चे आ ही नहीं रहे हैं कि हम इन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को जस्टिफाई कर सकें और उस बेंचमार्क पे उस इंस्टीट्यूशन में घुस सके, तो देन इज समथिंग रॉन्ग विद आवर एजुकेशन सिस्टम, राइट और रॉन्ग? right? There is something wrong
Yeah.
with our education system. Similar, apply the similar filter to the discussion, to the topic that we are talking about right now. For an ecosystem that is hosting 2,000 plus matches, if by the end of a certain amount of time I am finding it difficult to put 10 good umpires in place for the most premier domestic tournament in this country, then something at these multiple levels is not working.
Yep.
Something which the BCCI needs to keep revisiting, not just once by chance. Something that the BCCI needs to keep revisiting from time to time to time. I can tell you, over the course of my career as a journalist, I have gotten into fights and arguments with state associations, and it's reached a stage now where I can't even recollect. It's like, I'm कभी 8 साल पहले, 10 साल पहले, 12 साल पहले मेरे को तो एक बार एक स्टेट एसोसिएशन के साथ भी झगड़ा हो गया था, बेस्ड ऑन हाउ दे select umpires and what are the parameters, what are the tests, how they conduct these tests. Yeah, काफी पुरानी बात है, तो I don't remember offhand right now. Having said that, आप कर क्या रहे हो? You need to have a team that is monitoring this at multiple levels. As I said, कि आपका पूरे इकोसिस्टम अगर एंड ऑफ द ईयर 10 ढंग के एम्पायर नहीं प्रोड्यूस कर पा रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं आपके इकोसिस्टम में ही गलती है. इट्स लाइक मी सेइंग, आपका पूरा एजुकेशन सिस्टम अगर आईआईटी और आईआईएम्स इंडिया के अगर नहीं भर पा रहा है, तो आपके एजुकेशन सिस्टम में कोई गलती है, राइट? तो
Right.
इट इज एज सिंपल एज दैट. यू नीड टू कीप रिविजिटिंग द.
I think we are going to the same point that Jamie mentioned. There is something wrong in the system only. So we can go on and on around, how umpires are, selected and how they're appointed. But till the time system won't be refined, we can't do anything. Okay, we have one last question, though we have discussed around that as well. But I'll just take it because Soham has asked this to all of you. Sahil,
पैसा काटो,
would you like to take?
पैसा काटो, पैसा काटो. इंडिया के अंदर कोई भी चीज जो किसी को भी लाइन पे ला सकती है, लाइन से हटा सकती है, दैट्स मनी. सिंपल. Just start cutting their match fees. Just let them learn, let them watch matches, let them. There's a lot of umpiring material available. I have a friend who's like एकदम fanatic. वो mute करके TV देखता है and he makes those calls कि ये out है, not out है. He'll make those inside edges calls. मतलब वो देख के like वो थोड़ा freak है, ऐसी चीजें करता है. So I'm sure umpires can do such simulations. I'm not sure whether it happens at NCA or not. Theoretical तो होता है, but I think they should do more and more simulations at the NCA. जो noise, because I was speaking with MSK Prasad. I think he was the selector. Then he was watching a game at Palam. He was sitting with us journalists. This is long back. So he was watching one of the games, Ranji Trophy or Vijay Hazare ka game tha, and there was a loud shout for caught behind. So he had been a wicket keeper, right? So I just asked him, जब इतना माहौल तेज होता है, पीछे फील्ड में इतना शोर होता है, how difficult is it for the umpire to make those calls, because you don't have the luxury of a microphone or a concentrated speaker at your disposal. Field पे तो everything happens in the flow. So he says 99% of those calls are just instinct based by the umpires. It's basically gauging the body language of the batsman. The first cue is कि batsman पीछे मुड़ा कि नहीं मुड़ा, क्योंकि मसल मेमोरी बोलेगा एज लगा तो पीछे देखो कैरी हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. So that's how umpires kind of make those calls. How confident they are. Some people start scratching the popping crease beat होने के बाद, ताकि वो negative energy निकाल दे और show करे कि हाँ हमारा bat लगा नहीं. So all these things come into play, and that's the human element which kind of comes into umpiring, and that is what makes it the messy product which we are seeing right now. But it तभी improve होगा जब पैसा काटोगे. पैसा काटो, तमाशा देखो. सब सीखेंगे फिर.
Yes, that's quite interesting, Sahil. Thanks a lot for addressing this question. And in this slide, we were just talking about Sanju Samson's dismissal. But at the end of it, I can just say that it's not unidimensional. It's not one day. You'll have to think of n number of things associated with it. Jamie, Srini, Sahil, they all talked about dissent. They talked about technology. They talked about umpires, they talked about the quality of umpires, the level of umpires, so on and so forth. So there's so many things associated with it, and I think it was a very wholesome discussion here. Thank you so much, Sahil, Srini and Jamie, for also enlightening us, that it can't be a one-dimensional discussion around one's dismissal. We'll have to think about so many other things. So thanks a lot, and see you soon with another topic of discussion.
फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट.